4th grade. Because the classes were unruly. And teachers were saying that the kids are unruly, not taking into consideration maybe your lesson plan sucks. And kids don't listen to bad lesson plans. So maybe she put a little more grind on in the lesson plan area, maybe kids pay attention. Because the data is really clear that there's greater disparity from classroom to classroom than there is from school to school. Meaning that from one teacher's classroom to another teacher's classroom, there's a bigger difference in performance than there is from one school to another school. And the single greatest indicator of success in any child's academic experience is not how much their parents make or don't make, how smart their parents are, how many degrees, it's the quality of instruction. And so if you have, which you do, many skilled instructors, many skilled leaders, why not give them access to more children? Create a system that is designed to educate the least among us. We can't make the changes if what we want to do is make friends. This generation has to be the generation that has had enough. Because there's been a democratization of information. And the second and third world will not stay second and third for much longer. They don't need a $50 million building. They're not concerned about that. They're not concerned that they came to school in the 9th grade not knowing how to speak English. They'll learn it. And then when they sit up at the podium, deliver their valedictorian speech with that very thick accent, you'll recognize that it could have been done. Change has to be made right now. Students in particular, my sincerest hope is that you decide to organize something more compelling than a party and something more meaningful than a walk through your campus around an issue that nobody but you hears about. My hope is that you use your God-given ability and the calling that is yours to change the lives, to open up more opportunities for more people. Because this ain't cool. It's not okay. And with this much talent in the room, this much commitment in the community, I think you're comfortable with ruffling feathers. Now it's time to fly. Thank you so much for your time and attention. You can go if you like.
Ready? Over here. Yeah. Right here.
Okay, question for you. So with the issues that are happening in South Carolina, I wanted to hear your input from being an educator, from being an administrator, as well as being a parent about accountability and truth, and all that good stuff. How do we work with people?
Yeah, you mean with the school research officer?
Correct. With you being an administrator as well as a parent.
Yeah, I think everybody involved should be fired. I mean, it's just that simple. I think that you can't, that's just not, it's just unconscionable. But the truth is, sadly, one of the reasons why I don't do media and TV networks anymore is because they always ask me questions about things like that. They want to, that's not true, but they're just saying about them. What they want to focus on is the garishness of something that happens like that. But the long conversations about how that school as a whole is doing, which I'd be willing to bet, dimes and donuts, is not very well. Because you ain't rolling up in there like the Gestapo, you're not up in there like the stormtrooper beating somebody's daughter in front of people if that's how I perform in school. So the greater issue in that school is that I watched an African American male stand there and see a little girl dragged out of her chair. And I didn't see him flinch. I didn't see him say to the dude, hey, chill. Like, it's a phone, bruh. It's a phone. She ain't have a pistol. It's a phone. So there's a bigger conversation that I think should instigate, which is what on earth, what in the hell is going on in that school that this clown could have ever been a marauder in that school? Because the bigger question is, what if we didn't have a video of it?
Mm-hmm.
So, what I think, simple, fire all them, okay? But that won't change the problem. There's something in the ethos of that building I'd be willing to bet. I'd be willing to bet. Again, this is not known. I'm just saying this is a theory that I have. That this is a school in which our children are not being respected in the way in which they should. Because some of these elite private schools that I've visited, just to get a better sense of what it is, I can guarantee you, nobody talks to kids like that. If they take their phone out, they say they ain't giving it back, 2 tears in the bucket, keep it moving. Teach around it. But right here, when it's our kids whose lives don't really matter, a grown behind police officer will snatch a child out of a chair. Now look, I'm gonna tell you right now, high school girls, they're lives. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm gonna tell you, a lot of us would have thought about it. The bubble over your head would have had your hands around those. But then you'd be sane, and you wouldn't. I've been in a situation where you say to a child, give me the phone, I ain't give you the phone. Okay, you're gonna give me the phone. But if they're not gonna give you the phone, just tell them you gotta go home. Tell your mom come get it, you gotta go. You can't. But that speaks to a bigger issue. That this child and the children in there, he didn't even wait. He didn't call her aside and rough her up.
Mm-hmm.
She's in a full classroom, in full view of other grown people. He didn't even think there was no, hey man, you probably shouldn't do this in front of everybody. Take it out back and rough her. She doesn't matter, and they don't matter, and this dude's standing there like a bump on a log who couldn't get the phone in the first damn place. What it does for me is it says simply this. There are too many classrooms throughout this country that have people in the front who are in over their heads.
Yes.
They're just in over their heads. And I've seen too many people talk to our kids in ways in which you really don't leave the kid any other option but to say something real slick back.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it. You don't hear me condoning it because I'm not. But for those of us who grew up a particular way, you say certain things to us.
Okay, here, and then here.
All right, first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming to Kansas City. Your presentation was absolutely outstanding. And for those of us that are working with teacher prep programs, we like to do whatever we can to try to get them to really see the big picture and be ready, because so many people, they want to say they're ready for this field of education and this field of study, but it's much bigger than that and much more challenging, but challenging in a good way. So my question to you is, what do you think more specifically about merit pay and making certain that teachers are accountable in reference to what they're doing to and for our students?
It may come as a surprise to people that I am actually not in favor of merit pay. But let me tell you why. Because I don't think that most people do things for money.
Mm-hmm.
But accountability, I'm super for.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is that very little, when we're talking merit pay in public institutions, we're not talking about big bumps, right? We're talking about $500 here, $1,000 there. It's not like you enriching somebody. It's not like because your students did really, really well, you get so much more money. On the same token though, I'm a huge proponent of accountability. And accountability includes, but is not limited to, standardized tests.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that it is a method of determining whether or not a teacher has been effective. I struggle to an extent with standardized tests in the early stages because of the way in which they're currently administered, meaning that they're administered in an inorganic time, like why March, why February, it's not, I mean, it doesn't really fit into the academic calendar at all, so it's not. In addition to that, when you get the data back, in most cases, it's not until after the school year is done. So if the kid was struggling in the 5th grade, and guess what, says they're struggling in the 5th grade, they're already in the 6th grade by the time you get the information, so that doesn't do you any good. Word up to me, to handle teacher accountability and principal accountability and everybody else's accountability, what I would do is I would break the test down into smaller elements, and I'd have them periodically throughout the year. I'd probably have them anywhere from 6 to 10 times throughout the year, make it part of the curriculum, so that you're not, you don't have this inorganic experience where students are being tested on something that they didn't even have any idea about, but in fact it's something that they could be assigned. I'd also give them projects that they could do. So they would get a project that they would start, everyone would get the same information. You've seen some of these robotics competitions, right? These robotics competitions are the mock trial competitions. What they do is they all get the case at the same time, or they all get the pieces of the Legos or whatever they're going to do. They all get it at the same time, and then boom, they get a certain time period to do it in, and then within that, there's supposed to be a rubric by which they're all judged. Then you get to see what the kids can do. You get to see what the teachers and coaches can do, and then you can judge them more effectively. Here's the merit part of the merit pay. You get to stay employed if you do it. And if you don't, you're gone.
We'll have CJ, the lady up front, this woman, and then probably need to end on Dr. Smith.
Okay. Keeping in mind what Dr. Wilson said earlier, I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. Here on campus, I'm a member of a lot of organizations that try to do outreach, and I'm also a product of the Kansas City, Missouri School District. As a history major, I study and I see that, a lot of precursors and situations have left the Kansas City, Missouri School District dilapidated and without resources, and yet some people are able to succeed and some aren't. You know what I mean? So, what can we do in order to ensure success? Because I really feel like I had great teachers. I went to the Sale Academy. It's like a block from here. It's across from the Truce line, which everyone in Kansas City knows is the line where you get, from success and non-success. But I grew up in Waldo. So, I realize these are realities for the people that live them. So it's not just about access to teachers, because it's where we live. The reality that we come from is real to us. So I spent countless hours tutoring my own cousins, and they don't want to read. They don't care about it. You know what I mean?
I would push back on that. I don't know they don't care.
Well, I'm just thinking.
Let me give you something to consider. So the first question I think you were asking is about what can you do as someone on campus, and what can campus do? So I think that one of the biggest problems that we face is that we keep putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. So what happens is well-intended churches will do a backpack drive, and they'll get backpacks full, and they'll give the backpacks to the kids. They'll spend thousands of hours and that many dollars on getting these things done, and you give them to a school and the kids, and some kids lose them, some don't. Some cases you give them to some schools and they don't even take time to give them out to the kids, and things are stuck somewhere, and you find them in the closet. And these are all these are all true scenarios I'm speaking of. And I'm saying the first thing and the most important thing that you have to do is ruffle feathers. You have to literally get kids out of failed schools. There's no other way. Because what unfortunately is happening is, if tutoring alone was enough to change the tide, then we wouldn't need 7 hours of school a day. And so what we need to do is create more opportunities, whether it be through charter schools, whether it be through magnet schools, whether it be through vouchering children to private schools, whatever you have to do to get the kids in good schools. And if I ask you, forgive me students, because I don't want you to take this the wrong way, I'm going to say the adults, but I mean it's people who are not still in school, full-time undergrads. The same things that we would do for our own children, the same resources we want for our own kids, we need them for everybody's kids. And so that's really what I'd like to see more organizations on campus doing is fighting the conditions that create the need for you to go in there in the first place.